And we're live. Hello, everyone. This is Kevin, the Apptrepreneur. And just to let you know up front, this is a live stream, or at least this was formerly a live stream for those of you who are watching it after the fact. That means the video might be quite long. It might not get to the point fast. In fact, there's not even really going to be much of a point in this particular video. This is just so I could get something up today and maybe hang with people for a little bit. However, I do want to state that because of the Thanksgiving holidays and how I was not normally producing videos, there will be videos on Saturday, which is tomorrow, and there will be videos Sunday, and then Monday and Tuesday, there's going to be some different kind of videos I'm usually used to seeing on this channel, along with other news items if I get around to it. So anyway, that's the announcements for this video. Now then, for the first, hey, Anti-Uber from Kauai, I think I pronounced that correctly. Always good to have you in the live stream. So, as the title promises, we will be discussing this really condescending email Uber sent out. I mean, it was sort of worth talking about, if only because of the sheer stupidity of it, of course, and Uber's tone deaf. But I don't know if it could sustain like a whole 10-minute video. That's why this is going to be a live stream. Hey Clark, hey Donald, because we're going to read this email. I'm going to just quickly comment on it, and then I guess it's a free-for-all after that. After that, it'll be what you want talked about. So anyway, I'm even going to turn this around so that you guys can see the email. And it says, Kevin, thanks for being there. Each day, millions of people request rides to get where they need to go. Because of drivers like you, they can anytime, day or night. So thank you. From the parent who is too busy to be there after soccer practice, the couple on their first date, the person rushing to a morning meeting, the college student who needs to get to midterms, and from us, we appreciate the work you do today and every day. Thanks, I guess. I mean, thanks for acknowledging how much I do for you and for other people, and not giving me anything substantial. I'm glad I'm loved to get this email. Maybe a free Thanksgiving meal or a coupon to Best Buy or something. A little, maybe a $10 gift certificate for Uber rides to show how much they care. Yeah, something would be nice, other than an email. And I'm pretty sure everyone got this email, just changed the name. So yeah, it's talk about tone deaf, very tone deaf. So I mean, I don't expect a whole lot else from Uber at this point in time. I really don't. Still complain about them for some reason, but don't expect a whole lot anymore. But it's always funny because whenever I get like an email or a letter or a press conference from Uber saying how much they love the drivers or how much we appreciate you, it's like, I don't feel very appreciated. And this email doesn't help. So, and I guess that's my thoughts on that. So yeah, 4 minutes. 4 minutes with announcements. That's how long it would take to comment on that email. I'm glad this wasn't its own video. So now we can just talk about anything we want to. So let's go back up. Hey, Robert, happy Thanksgiving to you, and happy Thanksgiving to everyone. I hope you all had a good Thanksgiving. Hey, Kenneth. Hey, Thomas. You got an email from the passenger, reported you to 911. I don't know if I completely understand that comment. Uber loves you, Kevin. Yeah, I'm sure they do. Robert says, what BS? Pay us more money. Yeah, that's what people say. We want more money. Nala says, Lyft called me today asking me to drive my city. Do you know anything about Lyft Premier? It's like the black car for Uber, I believe. Let me look that up just to make sure that is correct. But I believe it's like a Uber black thing. What is Lyft Premier? Premier. Yeah, it's the luxury option. That's what it is. Lyft Premier is the luxury. According to this website, um, if you have an Audi, a BMW 5 Series, Cadillac Escalade, Range Rover, Porsche Macan, is that what you pronounce? Tesla Model X, Volvo S60, Nissan Armada, Mercedes GL Class, a Maserati Levante, a Lincoln Tower Car, or a Jaguar XF XJ, then you too qualify to be on Lyft Premier. So that's what Lyft Premier is. So we've got 50 people in the live stream. Hello, everyone, one and all. I'm a little behind on the messages, but if you all want to give a thumbs up, that'd be great. So let's see here. Marshall says, the email sounded more like an advertisement for reasons why riders should use Uber instead of a thank you to drivers. No, I agree. I totally agree. Top Speed Review says, I think the email that Uber said meant that they are 18-year-old kids who still need their fathers to pick them up from soccer practice. I love that one. I love that one. Luke Jan says, at least I got 50% off rides of Lyft. Okay. Kay said, if Uber and Lyft are seeing huge profits, then why can't they be more fair with their drivers as it relates to drivers' pay, mileage, reimbursement, real bonuses? You know, this is one thing that I have to give them in this sense. When people say, if they're making so much money, why don't they give raises? I mean, keep in mind, I am advocating for raises. I'm advocating for them being, a profitable company, and that we all benefit from that profitability. Oh, excuse me. Hold on. Did it just freeze? However, one second. This is what one of the problems are. Uber losses continue ahead of initial public offering. Uber is still working to stem its losses ahead of going public next year. The ride-hailing company said on Wednesday that it had lost $1.07 billion in the third quarter, more than in the prior period and slightly less than in the same period a year ago, as it has invested heavily outside of its core business areas such as bicycle, scooters, and freight shipments. At the same time, Uber's growth appears to be slowing. Now, we're not going to read that whole article. I'm actually kind of surprised I didn't make a video about this, but yeah, Uber is essentially still losing $1 billion. They just don't make money. They are not a sustainable business. I'm frankly surprised that they're still trying to go public when they mount so many losses, because companies that tend to lose money don't usually get investments from investors on the stock market, that is. Wall Street is pretty simple. They want two things. They want profit and they want growth. Now, sometimes if the growth is substantially more than the profit, or vice versa, people will still invest because there's potential there. But look at MoviePass, that had all of that growth and no profit. Now the stock trades for like 2 cents a share, of which I have like 3,000 shares of that. Mostly bought at 3 cents. So, there you go. So yeah, they're not making profits, and neither are we. No one's making money with this company. So makes you wonder why we're still doing it. Top Speed says, this is Tony before Edge. By the way, I changed my... Oh, okay. Hi, Tony. Sorry, my nose is itchy all of a sudden. Donald says, wow, thank you. Clark says, I still don't know where they are spending all that money. It says it right here. Bicycles, scooters, freight shipments. Uber Freight is like the next big thing they're working on, and Uber Freight appears to be profitable so far. But it's in that little stage that Uber used to be, where they charge enough to make it profitable. But once Uber gets a hankering to try to put the trucking industry out of business and try to make their app the one app, then they will lower the prices and the truckers will be screwed. I don't know if the truckers would put up with it like the drivers do. The drivers... Boy, Uber drivers will put up with any garbage pay, it seems like. So Rod says, they should be profitable, but whenever they make a change, they always seem to screw one group of drivers. Part-time drivers can't go for bonuses like full-time drivers, and now there was no surge. No, one of the things that I know has really hurt them is like they spent millions upon millions investing in driverless cars, and that's frankly not going anywhere anymore. In fact, here's the funny thing. Here's a funny little thing, guys. I want you to really think about this. I'm not saying you don't hear about driverless cars anymore. I am so not saying that. But notice how when Uber wasn't allowed to test these cars, notice how a lot of the discussion about the driverless cars being here in a couple of years just kind of went away. It's almost as if, the company who was trying to, I don't know, bluff the market into thinking these things were ready, now that they can't talk about them, now that they can't make those claims, it's almost as if other companies who have more realistic expectations are like, yeah, we're just not going to talk about it. It's like, it just seemed like all of these people bragging about self-driving cars are going to be here next year. They're going to be here in 2 years. Well, I've been talking about those cars for 2 years. They're not here. And now we don't hear much from them anymore. Just something to think about. Marshall Price says, the amount of losses and growth slowing is disconcerting. Most companies don't last with news like that. Yeah, and here's one of the problems. Because, Netflix and Facebook, and now even Amazon, have been hammered recently because growth stalled. And people are acting like, oh, that's like the worst thing in the world. It's like, guys, think about it. Amazon, Facebook, Google, Netflix. Who doesn't have these products? I don't think there's much more they can do to grow. Everyone I know knows what Uber is. Everyone I know uses Uber, whether part-time or full-time. I mean, really, at the prices they are, everyone in the world could use it and they wouldn't be profitable. They need people to give up the car ownership so they can raise the prices. But they're not going to do that. So there's only so much you can grow when you become a verb. At that point, I think growth is a little hard to come by. It's like, get an Uber or play your PlayStation, or I'll get it on Amazon when it's just Facebook friend me. Whenever it's a verb, at that point, I believe it gets harder and harder for you to grow. So, and Uber's in especially a bad situation because, well, Amazon too, now that I think about it, because Amazon has just turned profitable. But they are finally profitable, so good for them, I guess. But Uber is slowing on growth, and they aren't profitable. That is a bad combination. So I don't know. I've been talking about the losses for years. I think I didn't even talk about this billion-dollar loss. The reason I didn't make a video is because it's kind of like, well, they lost $1 billion, but so what? They always lose $1 billion. But the growth slowing should have been a news story. Well, so I'm glad we get to talk about it now. Anyway, DK says, I stopped driving when they switched to Upfront Surge, got a minimum wage job, which isn't great, but at least I get more respect than I did at Uber. Even got a free Thanksgiving meal at work. Good for you. Oh, hey, Savage Scientist, how you doing? I saw that you were on the that other podcast that's not mine. But I'm glad you guys are doing a podcast, though. I'm glad that the Alliance podcast, is that what it is? That's anyway, I listen to it sometimes. It's good. So, Alliance drivers. Oh, Edward, how you doing? Uber just reinvests their profits as they blow out their corporate infrastructure globally on the backs of drivers. That is something that they could be doing. I mean, that's one of the reasons Amazon doesn't make money, because even if they make money, they reinvest it in the company. And, most of the time that works out for them, in all fairness. Like the Kindle was a success, the tablet Fire is a success, Amazon Prime is a success-ish, I think. Amazon Prime's actually become a huge problem for them in terms of their profit, but, it's in numbers-wise, it's a success. You have like a Fire phone, which is an outright flop, and then it really hurts them, but so I think one of the things that Uber was really investing a lot of money in those driverless cars that they just can't use and they don't work. So there you have it. I think that's one of the things. Thoughts on the new Uber Pro rollout? I am in favor of anything that could get drivers more money, but as we discussed on the podcast, it's first of all not much. It really isn't much. extra money, that is. And also, it's one of those things that, as Mark pointed out, it just seems to be another way that Uber can attempt to make you like employees without actually being employees. It's so I agree, it's kind of a scam. But what about Uber really isn't a scam at this point? iSurvivor says Uber doesn't lose money; it spends money on ads and also promotions, and then it claims as losses. The same thing I do. I deduct everything I can, and I show a loss in my taxes. Yeah, that's what they call Hollywood accounting. It's not a slam, by the way. It's not an insult. That is what it is. It's called Hollywood accounting, where Hollywood, multi-billion-dollar industry, and the way that they do their books is that nothing makes money in Hollywood, and that's how they avoid paying taxes. I mean, if you look it up, Lord of the Rings cost $300 million to make all three movies, and all three of those movies made more than $500 million. So it was a huge hit. I think it made like $2 billion overall, and yet on the accounting books, it showed a loss, like that it had lost money. So, you know. But the thing is, if you dig into the numbers long enough, usually you'll find some discrepancies. There was a situation with Forrest Gump where Tom Hanks agreed to do Forrest Gump for a relatively low amount of money and he decided to take a cut of the profits. And so then the money makes all this money. It makes like $500 million worldwide. He goes in and he says, "So I think I've got some money coming. What do I get?" And they're like, "Nothing." And he's like, "What do you mean nothing?" And they're like, "We haven't made any money." And he got his lawyers involved. They looked through the books and they found that actually they had made money. Some of the expenses were exaggerated, and then he got a check. So that's Hollywood accounting for you. And I wouldn't be surprised if companies do that too. Mr. John Craig Jr. says the economy is about to crash. Probably. Lucan says, "Did you hear about Amazon employees striking in Europe?" Yes, and good for them. I mean, seriously, if Amazon employees, like if all of them just walked out on like Cyber Monday, then, Amazon is just like, they're screwed. I mean, maybe not long term, but it's like they're not going to get their products to people, and that's the thing with Jeff Bezos. If the customer starts feeling slighted, they will move on to something else. If there's word that gets out that, hey, Best Buy, Barnes & Noble, Walmart, Jet.com, Target, they're all shipping your stuff on time, but Amazon is not because their workers are on strike, but people will buy it from there. So good for them. So, hey, JC, how you doing? Happy Thanksgiving. Savage, I was on the podcast with Driver Lady Pro. Yeah, she's nice. JC says, "What do you think about Uber drivers banding together to make their own rideshare?" Look, I've answered that question so many times. I hate to laugh as if like it's like you puny drivers. It's not that. It's just, you know how many times this has come up? Way, way more than I can count. Way more than I can count. Of course, I'm for it, but I've always told people creating the app is not the problem. The problem is the insurance. The problem is the regulation. The problem is all that. Drivers don't have that kind of capital to invest in it. And then on top of that, Uber and Lyft is a brand. I mean, kind of like how Amazon's a brand. Heck, I'll use Amazon's example. People buy everything from Amazon. Some people brag about it. I buy everything from Amazon. Here's the thing. Amazon's actually not the cheapest place to get most things. It simply isn't. They, in fact, they even study your patterns and your behavior, so that when they find out what you're willing to pay for something, they might charge you a little bit more based on where you live and all that stuff. So they're really not. But they have convinced you it's cheap, it's fast, and it will always be there in 2 days. And even if that's not technically true in most cases, and there's tons of websites out there where you can get other stuff, try convincing a public of that. That's the same thing with the app. Uber and Lyft, they're fast, they're cheap, they're established. Good luck convincing someone to use anything else you create. Savage Scientist says Amazon Prime needs to focus on original series. Yeah, original series is the key where it's at. In fact, I'm even hearing that Netflix is, because I used to work at Netflix. I used to be a consultant at Netflix. I don't anymore. They had some layoffs, and I was just one of the unfortunate sods who got laid off. But I think I can talk about this now. When I was there, there was like a lot of discussion about whether or not Amazon should get more serious about theatrical distribution, because movies have a few problems that um, they hadn't quite figured out was the streaming platform. It's all well and good to say we're going to disrupt the industry and we're going to make these big movies. We're going to put them on Netflix on day one, but there's a few problems. First of all, you leave a lot of money on the table when you don't put a movie into theaters, which Amazon does, by the way. And when they have like a hit like Manchester by the Sea or Midnight in Paris, was it Midnight in Paris? No, it was Cafe Society. That's what it was. That's the Woody Allen film they made. Then they reap a lot of money. And when you put the movie on Netflix, it gets lost easily. It tends to be forgotten. It's hard to find. It doesn't require a lot of repeat coming back to the site. And yeah, there's a lot of money being left. So Netflix is considering getting into a bigger theatrical push. But the reason Amazon needs to worry about more Prime series is because TV shows do encourage people to come back to the site. Usually you can get them for 13 episodes at least. So that just encourages people to watch an episode or two, and then they come back, and it comes back. And if there's another season coming out, they might not want to cancel the series. So yeah, Amazon does need to focus on original series. But I will pirate every single Amazon series because I don't pay them a cent. Mr. John said 6%. I'm not going to go the extra. Yeah, no. Lewis says, on the roadside assistant, you must sign up before you need to take 24 hours start. Okay. Savage says, yes, the Amazon makeshift warehouse is disorganized here in Baton Rouge, and it hit the news. The best future of Uber is for it to be bought out by Google. And maybe Google will do that because Google has enough money that they can keep a lot of their products free or as money losers because they just have the money to, like YouTube. They it's always losing money, partly because it's designed that way. It's the way it's designed. It's like if you really want to make a YouTube competitor, you cannot have the unrestricted access that Google has. You just don't have the server space. You have to charge people for memberships or something like that. And by not doing that for like YouTube and stuff like that, people like me can do this. I would not be making YouTube videos if I had to live by some of the rules of like VidMe or one of the many failed attempts. And Google does this purposefully so that they are kind of the only ones and they have a monopoly. So yeah, if they bought Uber, not only would the Uber CEOs make a lot of money, but basically Google could keep the service super cheap just to discourage anyone else from trying to compete with them. So John Nick says, what happened to your DoorDash videos? They're still up. I haven't had a reason to talk about them for a while. That's why. Google mapping service can benefit. Yep, I agree. Moose54321 says, I think Uber and Lyft's losses over the years can largely be attributed to their wasted money spent on driverless cars technology and a bunch of sign-up bonuses because they couldn't keep their drivers happy, and thus people just left and they'd always have to get new drivers. JC says, drivers do have the capital if they band together. Imagine $5,000 putting $100 each. Then once they have a prototype app, we can all use it and encourage other. Well, that's not 100% true, JC. I mean, I appreciate your enthusiasm, but here I'm going to pull out the calculator and we're going to just find out how much. Because I am very, very bad at math. Even when I use a calculator, I'm bad at math. So we're going to try to make this as. Okay, so 5,000 drivers putting $100 each. Oops. That is $500,000. Okay. That's not bad, but here's the thing. Insurance is going to cost considerably more than just this. Then you have to find 5,000 drivers who are willing to part with $100. A lot of them just won't. I mean, it's nice. It's a very nice idea, but then you got to like find someone who dictates how the money flows. It's way more complicated than just a bunch of people getting together and pooling their money together. $500,000 doesn't even begin to the licenses and the insurance. It's not going to happen. Hey, Ryan's Treasures. Happy Thanksgiving. Hope you had a great one. I did. I got a lot of stuff on Black Friday, too. I spent more money this Black Friday than any other year. On the positive side, well, my Christmas shopping's pretty much over. And now the only thing left is to accept for Christmas gifts in return and birthday gifts because my birthday is in 2 weeks. So that's always fun. Let's see here. Savage Scientist says also Google brands can be advertising in Google Uber vehicles. Oh yeah, they can. SK says I just bought my Rolex date just today from about a year of part-time driving. Okay. Clark says Arcade City tried to do an app. Is Arcade City still around? It'd be nice if they were. Savage Science says, hey, don't forget to hit the like button. Oh yes, please do, folks. It always helps. Donald says, let's see the count go up for Kevin. Show some love, people. Thanks. Edward says, Uber launch of Uber Works will undermine full-time employment as they go after temp staffing, i.e. special event workers, security, catering, hotels, I think. For those who don't care about Uber's... Oh, no, I've discussed about that. That's definitely a very, very bad thing. That's turning all workforce into temporary employees. Although, here's the thing. Because I'm doing some part-time work for a company that has temps. A lot of temps. And the reason they have a lot of temps is, frankly, not a lot of people want to work there full time. It's a stressful job. We'll put it that way. It's a very stressful job. And the thing is, they use the temping staffing agencies. They've even used some of the gig economy apps that I have actually recommended them to use. And the thing is, they do not like the temps because they quit easily. They'd rather have established employees. So while you have a few companies who might get in on that, I highly doubt the whole of America is going to completely want just temporary workers the whole time because most of them don't know what they're doing and they don't stick around long enough. So now, unfortunately, where the damage can be done is if everyone bounds again and says we're just going to do this, and they basically just keep people on as long as they need them as a way to keep the costs low and then to get rid of them if they want, then yeah, that's something of concern. But I don't think for the immediate future we have to worry about that, but it is something we have to worry about maybe at some point. John says, what do you think the average hourly pay net is for an Uber driver? I would say somewhere between $8 to $11. It kind of just depends how they drive or what car they drive. Like, for example, if you drive a Prius, you're probably closer to 14 an hour, let's be honest. But if you drive a Corolla, it's probably closer to 11. And if you drive something that does not get good gas mileage, you are definitely wasting your time. So, hey, Chilla, how you doing? JC says, I can build a prototype app for $50K. The customers pay for insurance per ride. I've worked it out and can make it work, but I would not spend my own money if drivers won't join. I hit like. Awesome. Well, you know what? Hey, here's an idea. Here's an idea. I don't know if anyone's actually tried this before, but you might want to, especially if you can make the app for that kind of money. I would launch a Kickstarter campaign with a goal of like $100,000 because there's going to be fees and stuff involved and taxes. So you want to have that ready. Have a bunch of little rewards. Ask drivers to invest in it. Be $1 or $100 and see if you can get them to raise the money. And if you can do that, and if you can in a video make a compelling case for why if you hit this money, the app will be ready, it'll be out there, it can compete in it, then maybe people will contribute to it. Heck, I might even contribute a little bit to that. I certainly, now I think that the reward should be modest. I mean, if they're low contribution, they don't get much. And the higher the contribution, maybe you should offer them some equity in the company that you're going to be founding. But it might be worth trying to kickstart that thing. Who knows? Mark says, sorry, I just tuned in. Can you tell us about the email again? Did I get it? I'm in Cincinnati. I'm not going to read the email again, but here's the thing. When the video is over, it's in the first 4 minutes. So you can rewatch this video tomorrow and pretty much see what you missed. Mark says, I made $12 an hour today on average. Oh, good for you. So let's see here. Chris Brothers Tampa Drive. How you doing? Let's see here. JC says, I do want to, but I envy a platform like yours. Hello. If I had my Kickstarter campaign would work. Well, here's the thing. If you make the Kickstarter campaign, I'll look at it and if I like it, not only will I contribute, I'll make a video and tell people to consider it. So there you go. Let's see here. Savage Sign says, "Hey JC, your best bet would be develop the app and sell to taxi companies, but the problem is you care competing with Smart Dispatch. I tried that same thing with West Bank Cab in New Orleans in 2011. Oh, you're competing with, yeah, that's one of the problems. Yeah, unless you could do something that is just radically different than you're competing with an established company, it's very, very difficult. So, okay, I am now officially all caught up on the uh, the questions. So, do we have any final questions? Any more comments? Hope everyone's Thanksgiving and Black Friday was Edward says, your comments on Uber commercial starring here. Oh, um, stay tuned for that. That's all I'm going to say about that. Stay tuned for that. So, any other questions? I'm not going to, don't worry, I will comment on it. It's just, that's a sensitive topic right now. And, it will be commented on within the week, but it's very sensitive because I know Harry, he's a friend, and well, here's the thing: when you publicly disagree with your friend on something, you got to find a way to do it where the friendship is hopefully not too badly damaged. So, but something will be said. Because when I saw those videos, that was definitely like, I can't not comment on this, but it's Thanksgiving week and I just didn't want to sour the mood, but there's something coming. So we'll leave it at that. Unfortunately. So Savage Science says, my thing is Uber reached out to bigger YouTube channels for paid. Well, look, you can't blame them for that. Their company, they're gonna do that. I mean, there's this YouTube channel called Say Goodnight Kevin. It's not mine, by the way. And the whole theme of the channel is that he reviews Christian videos, normally very satirically, and he is a Christian, but he considers most Christian movies bad. And so he gives bad reviews to Christian movies and does rants on how poor the Christian film industry is. And one of the companies that he criticized the most, PureFlix, reached out to him and said, hey, we like your editing. Do you want to help us edit videos and promote our stuff and for some money? And he said yes. And this is where it gets complicated, and this might be a little bit of a sneak preview to what's coming, but without giving away too much. But he's kind of like, look, I can dislike the product that I'm working on. Like, if you want to reach out and you want to pay me to work on something and promote it, I'll promote it. But you know, once we're not friends anymore per se, then I'm going back to you. So, and of course that guy's in entertainment, and he's more of an entertainer than a film critic. So, and the companies are allowed to reach out to him if they want. It's just everyone does it. So now whether or not you should participate in, now whether Harry should have participated in those commercials is another matter altogether, because what complicates, he has taken the position of a journalist, and kind of like when you see CNN taking, and Fox, just to be fair, taking political stances when they're really just supposed to be reporting the news. They're not supposed to be commenting on the news. And you have people like Don Lemon and Chris Tucker and who's that other guy that does it a lot? Jim Acosta. When they start putting their opinions into the story, it's like it's not journalism anymore. And likewise, we know that there are news stories that are not given the attention because they have advertisers that would be very, very unhappy. In fact, if you want to watch a great movie about that, it's not a documentary. I'd recommend The Insider, which was actually made for 7 Oscars, including Best Picture, and it's it's kind of like I'm glad that it got those nominations because otherwise this could have been an easily forgotten film. And it's kind of two movies in one because the first half of the movie is pretty much about getting the story on a big tobacco company where an informant, there's a whistleblower essentially, who sells 60 Minutes a story about what something that big tobacco is lying about. Um, Now that's where you think it's going to end, but then there's a bigger problem because when this episode is put together at 60 minutes, they realize that the company that they're having the story about put so much advertising into the network that if they complained and if any of the complaints were even a little bit correct, they wouldn't have a show or even a network the next day. And so they decide to shelve the episode. So there is a very big danger of getting into bed with the people that you're going to report on. But again, sensitive topic. We will talk about that more a week later. So let's see here. Let's go back up. Queen Brooksy says, "Have you spoken with Ride with Peterson since he took down all of his? He took down all of his videos. I'm not aware of that. I'm sorry. I'm gonna." Huh. Okay. Wow. Um, I did not notice that. That is did he say something about that on his Facebook page? Um, hmm. Well, I don't know what happened there, but I'm gonna reach out to him and see what I if I can share what's going on, I'll let you guys know. That's disappointing, but the last time I talked to him, I know that he had gotten really vigorously attacked by asking for that money, which I wish I could talk more about it. It was totally justifiable reason to ask for money. But who knows? Maybe I know he felt pretty emotionally wounded by that, and maybe he's kind of backing away from it. I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna have to ask him. Um, JC, yes, notice a simple driver. Yeah, I noticed the simple video. I didn't feel as compelled to comment on that though, because with all due respect to the simple driver, if he's seeing this, no issue with you, Calvin, but you're not a journalist per se. You've always been like a how-to channel, and it makes sense to partner with Uber with the videos you make. But the rideshare guy, that's a very different story. So, and it's actually, I really Uberman changed his name for that reason. Oh hey, James, the Jim Joan Wolfs is here. How you doing? Savage Nine says, I'm surprised Uber did not reach out to you, Kevin, and Rideshare. Well, they're not going to reach out to me. They are just not. For Rideshare Professor, it's really funny because I know he gets flack for basically being a sellout, but I don't think he's interested in partnering with Uber, so. JC says, I hear you. My goal is to solve the problem of providing customers as close to a cheap price as possible while making sure the drivers get paid $1.30. Okay. Okay, so that's a conversation going on with those two. How about comments on Harry's acting when he pretends to be a full-time driver? I will comment on Harry later. I've said all I'm going to say about Harry right now. We'll just put it like that. Needed Twilight. You lose weight? Yeah, no, I've lost more than 30 pounds this year. I probably put a couple on because it was Thanksgiving, but yeah, I've lost a lot of weight. So Savage Science says, I think Peterson has an ego issue. I don't think so. I mean, we all have egos, really. There are times when our pride gets hurt a little bit. There are times we have to humble ourselves, and it's not easy. And, you know, but if you were to tell me that he has like this big giant ego that he just wears on his shirt, no, that's not him. I mean, he might have a different kind of ego, some of you might think, but I'm thinking of other Uber tubers. Like, there's other Uber tubers I know who have true egos. They think the world of themselves, and they are very sensitive when you criticize them. And Peterson's not like that. So, no, I'm sorry. I'm just not going to agree with that, Savage Scientist. Let's see. Doing great, brother. Thanks. Hope your holidays are well. Yes, they've been well so far. Media don't hate me for saying this, but I think Uber hints it's kind of funny. I like that guy. He seems to want to be adventurous. Uber undercover. Tell him the story. I don't see how that would be offensive, but okay. Savage, if I were Peterson, I would just make a video saying I made a mistake and keep moving on. Nothing is wrong with saying I'm sorry. Well, but that's... See, this is where I get put into like a really bad position because I am actually aware of the full situation of what happened, and it was not when you get in a bad situation like that. And I also know why he can't share that story, and I know why I can't share that story because I'd be breaking confidentiality. But yeah, there were some things that happened that were just completely out of his control, and he just really needed some help. Now, here's the thing. Me and Peterson talked about this for a while because he was genuinely surprised. And I was a little surprised too, to be honest, that, you know, he got into a bad situation. He asked for a little bit of money, and the community really turned on him, like in a very hardcore, we do not like this way. And yet, other people who've asked for help have not been criticized. I mean, Chell mentioned that she needed a few $100s to get her car fixed. We gladly helped her out. I hinted very strongly a few months ago that I was in a bad financial situation, and some people helped me out financially privately very gladly. We did not get criticized for that. And Sean asks for $40,000 after Robert Ortiz, I always forget that, called him out. We didn't criticize him for that, but we criticized Peterson for that. And there's really two reasons I think we did it. First of all, he was in his BMW dressed up nicely, and he's asking for money, and that's not a good look. But when you know the whole story, it's one of those situations where it's like the old saying of nothing. It's like a photograph doesn't lie. Well, there's actually nothing lies more than a photograph sometimes, and him being in the BMW was not a reflection of what his living situation was. And I got to plug in the phone because I just got a 50% power notification. So let me, because I think this is going to go on just a little bit longer. Let me move this stuff to the side. So that could be one reason. But here's the other reason I think people really jumped on him. And I think it's because he asked for help himself. In all these other cases, people mentioned they were in trouble, but they didn't themselves ask for help. I didn't officially ask for money. People offered it on the side. Chell did not ask for money. Rideshare Dustin asked that we all band together, and he sent her the money. Papa John, I'm sorry, yeah, not Papa John, Papa Sean, I think that's what it is, or Sean Papa. I'm sorry, I've talked to him. I'm so bad with names. He started a GoFundMe page, but he didn't promote it. So I'm wondering if Peterson actually asking for money just rubbed people the wrong way. Like, well, hey, we'll offer you help, but if you ask for help, then we've got a problem. And I've got a problem with that way of thinking because you know what? There's a reason people commit suicide because they have problems and sometimes they're financially related and they don't know how to get out of it. And it's weird because we tell people all the time, if you need help, ask for it. Like, ask for help. But then when we do it, and it's not just money. Some people have admitted they struggle with depression, and you go into YouTube comments, like, it's kind of like a last-ditch effort, and you just see the hatred. You see the hatred in the comments. And we shun people for asking for help. So, no, in my opinion, Peterson, I wish he was able to tell the story. I really wish he was. I think people's opinions might have been a little different. Or maybe they wouldn't. Maybe we just do not like it when people ask for help. I don't know. So, you know, and I like you, Savage Scientist. You know, I'm just disagreeing with you on this because I know the story. And I wish I could tell you the story, but, and who knows? I'm going to call him probably tomorrow. I'll find out what's going on with the videos. And, we'll see. He might, and who knows? Maybe I'll have the freedom to let you guys know what's going on. I don't know. Randy says the Parenthood could be there. They're instituting that you're allowed to pick up kit. Oh, that he said exactly. Being in a BMW did not help the situation. No. Lyft Premier is the equivalent to Uber Select, but they changed it to Lux now. Terry C. Correction. Ortiz didn't call out the driver. It was the Ortiz guy was being a jerk. Well, yeah, no, he was being a jerk, but anyway. Mark says, I drive Lux in Cincinnati. Okay. Chris Brother says, I just talked with Inner Support and told them to read the email. They said, do not pick up unaccompanied minors. Oh, have a good night, JC. Chris Brother said, I told them that they need to read and proof the letters before they send them out. Savage Nine says, I would not remove my videos because it's black. Well, and again, I don't know what's going on with the videos. I really don't. But people react differently to this sort of stuff. Sometimes and the thing is, and I've received backlash before, so I've been on that end, where it's like, sometimes you say something, and I'm not going to repeat what I said, but I made a video like about a year ago, when I had like a quarter of the subscribers I had now, and I said something rather embarrassing. I didn't mean to say it. It just slipped out, and the backlash was pretty heavy, and I removed the video, and I apologized. It was total accident. It was a total accident what I said. But for a few months, I felt like I wanted to die. The comments were so nasty. But thankfully, I stuck it out. And the apology video is not there anymore because it's really not needed anymore. I also got another backlash because I did a news story and I didn't. And not only did I not take precautions to protect my source, but I deliberately outed the source and put her job in jeopardy. And the backlash was immediate for that, and it was strong. So I understand, like, when you get it, it's like, it's tough. Sometimes you don't know what to do. And if it's consistent enough, some people probably would rather just... But he left one video up, which is strange. So I just don't know what's going on. I'm going to have to call him on that. Hey, Alex, how you doing? Savage Scientist, I wish the best for Peterson. I told him if I had extra money, I would have helped him out. Well, yeah, that's the thing, though. I mean, and when he made the video for help, and yeah, I know how it looks. Again, the BMW thing. I actually made like a video commenting on this and Uberman's response, or Randy's response. It never went up because on the day it was going to go up, both their videos had been taken down, and I reached out to them, and I don't think they made peace with each other, but it seemed like, but Randy took his video down for personal reasons, and Peterson took his video down for personal reasons, and so it seemed like there was no reason to get into it anymore. But again, I mean, we tell people that if they really need help, and he really needed help, we should ask, and he asked, and I'm frankly a little embarrassed in how we reacted. I really am. I uh, I mean, it's one thing to say, I just don't want to. I just don't want to give you any money. That's fine. People can't always afford money, but to say like, you're a creep, you're a snake, it's like, no. Like he did this once in how many years? So I don't know. I was a little embarrassed about that myself personally. Hey, Noah, how you doing? At some point we will do a podcast together, Noah. It's just you. The funny thing is, like that day we couldn't make it work. The very next week, I ended up getting much busier, so I don't have as much time for podcasts. That's all. So Terry says, "Yeah, the social media space can be brutal, my friends." Let's see here. So I saw Uberman's video and it was harsh. I think a simple no is all he needed to do. Casey says, I agree with Randy. Well, that's fine. You can agree with Randy. I personally, and I saw Randy, so Randy, if you see this, don't go over to Randy and say, like, I hate him. I don't. But I personally disagreed with Randy when he did that. Especially since, here's the thing. How do I put this? If there's a conflict, I believe you should try to go to each other, especially if you're within a contact. Randy knows that I had Peterson's number. In fact, he has asked me questions about Peterson before he's made videos before, and I try to explain them the best that I can. But if he really wanted to know what was going on, and he could have said, "Hey, do you have Peterson's number?" And I'll say, let me see if Peterson wants to talk to you. And if Peterson wanted to talk to him, they could have talked. But he went on and he made this video and he assumed it was many things. And as someone who knows the story, I can assure you it was not any of those things. So, but this is one of the problems when you're disconnected in general. It's easy to make a response video when you don't know the person. That's why the video where I'm going to comment on what's going on with the Harry Campbell situation as it is because I'm reaching out to Harry. I want to give him a chance to share his side of the story before I post such a video, because I do consider him a friend, and it's like friends don't talk about friends behind each other's back, and even just decent human beings. And some people might say, well, what about that one? What about Riot Revolution? You called him out. It's like, you know what, guys? I tried to email him several times to work something out. He never responded. Maybe he never got the messages. I mean, YouTube's messaging system was always kind of broken. And he kept coming after me, and then I just kind of snapped. Now, I still learned a lesson that day because it didn't benefit either of us, really. All we did was got into a pissing match with each other, and I disabled the comments because I didn't want people to go over to his page and harass him. I tried to keep it as anonymous as possible. But he used the name freely, and it was even kind of sad to go over. I didn't watch that video, but someone mentioned some of the comments, and I went over, and there were people over there, some of you who are actually even in this chat room right now, who were insulting me behind my back. It's like, wow. That hurt. And so when I reflect upon it, it was like, that didn't accomplish anything. So, for the record, I'll say it right now. This was probably a long time coming. I am really sorry for the part that I played in that whole thing. And I still want to work it out if he wants to work it out. I don't think he's interested, though. But that really took a lesson, like, do everything you can to reach out to the person first before you start making videos, because then it just becomes this big... It's this show to people who watch them. And for good reason. It's YouTube. People watch YouTube for entertainment sometimes. And it's like, I don't want my personal problems to be your entertainment. So I will always try to work things out behind the scenes first before I make a video. And that's what I learned from that video. What he learned, I don't know. But, there you have it. Anyway, the comments just stopped after that one. We're a few minutes away from an hour. I guess it would be nice to get to a BRB. Got a 2-time surge on Uber Select Call. Oh, nice. Um, Terry says, I think your approach in reaching out to resolve issues of varied drivers and markets is commendable, my friend. Yeah, I think I try. Um, in fact, and I think it's gotten me pretty far. Like, I'm about to hit 10,000 subscribers, and we're actually going to do like a live stream with Drive Real Drive, and I am going to invite Harry Campbell to that. I'm going to invite Rideshare Professor. I will invite Peterson if he still wants to be part of this community. Mark's invited if he wants to come, but pretty much most all of the Uber tubers would be invited, and we're going to have like a party. We're going to do a live stream together, and I'm going to invite all those people. So, that kind of commodity, that's a nice feeling knowing that they have my back and I have their back. And that doesn't mean I won't disagree with them sometimes, because again, I'm holding off on releasing the video about Harry because I want to get his opinion, but I will release it, and it's probably not going to be the nicest thing in the world. But I do believe you gain more by not butting heads. And even though I do butt heads with people sometimes, and I definitely regret it afterwards, but I think you tend to do best when you communicate with people. And in fact, the funny thing is, like, one of the common threads I get when I like talk to people on the phone, because once in a while, not that don't everybody do this, by the way. Sometimes people will email me, and in their email they'll leave their phone number, and sometimes I will call them. I will call that phone number, and I will talk to the person, and I will get the facts, or I will hear what they have to say, or whatever it is, and they normally are surprised by that. And when I do my underground podcast, there's another theme that comes up. When I've introduced myself to people, and when we've talked, most of the time the recurring comment is, "You're a lot nicer than I expected you to be," which is true, because Angry Apptrepreneur is entertainment, or it's bad comedy, however you want to put it. I'm a much more mellow guy when the cameras are off. And before I did an episode, I think I was driving with Christian at one point, and it was a good conversation before we did the podcast, and he commented at one point, like, I was a little nervous about talking to you because, I discovered Rideshare Evolution first, and what people were saying about you and what he was saying about you was not flattery, and you're actually you're really nice. I don't understand what's going on. And I said, look, I'm not going to make myself out to seem better or anything, but here's the thing. People have told me that all the time, and they say, well, who's right in the feud? And it's like, and I don't think there's a right or a wrong in this. We just simply have different opinions, and in this case, the opinions escalate to the point where it just created this ugly thing that I regret. But I did tell him, but here's something that you can probably look to if you want to talk about integrity or, like, respect or whatever. When you compare how many of the other Uber tubers have worked with me and are on speaking terms with me, and how many are in his corner. And actually, I think that speaks more about just who he is in general. Like, he's a pit bull, he wants to fight the world, and that's his personality. And this is how it shows up. Me, on the other hand, I try to be respectful. I try to let people have their day in court. And as such, I think there's a mutual respect between me and other Uber tubers, even when we disagree. I was actually in pretty big disagreement with your personal driver, Aaron, your personal driver, and Uber girl Paula on a couple different issues. But the thing is, we still like each other. And we still get along. We just disagree on some things. That's all. And that's where I try to be. I definitely have changed my stance. Like, if you don't agree with me, you must be wrong. I've never had that stance, and I don't want that stance. And I'm never going to have that stance. If I disagree, I will just try to use the facts as best as I can present them. So, okay, that was a load full. So let's see what else is going on. Yes, you are being seen, Alex. So, What's up with Harry Campbell? Also, status of your personal driver and Uber and your personal driver and Uber girl Paula LA feud. Okay. The Harry video is coming, but I am not going to comment on what's going on between your personal driver and Uber girl Paula. I'll say the only thing I will say is that I think they're both being very immature about what's going on. But other than that, it is a personal thing. They are. It's like I think they should talk it out and forgive, or they should just agree to disagree, and both of them should move on. But individually, they are both very nice people, and I don't have an issue with them. So, that's just how it is. So, love you, Aaron. Love you, Paula. I just don't like to see people fighting, is all. So, but there's some disagreements there, and it's personal disagreements. So, but it's not relevant to, it's not Uber news per se. So I'm just not. So if they want to share those stories, they are free to. I'm not going to do that. Just asking since a couple of comments got skipped. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to. Edward says, we all need to rise above the personal when it comes to addressing issues impacting the greater drivers community. If a person puts profits before people, just like corporations, then they're fair game. Well, but you see, it's not that simple sometimes. Because, I mean, when you word it like that, and this is where we need to start listening to each other. Because when you put profits before your drivers, then you're fair game. And by the way, I actually do agree with that. But that's one way to say it. The other way to say it is, I put my family and their well-being above a bunch of strangers I don't know, which most of us, when given the opportunity, will do. I mean, why do you think the strikes don't work? Why do you think, people drive for bad pay, even though they know that if they turned it off and left it off for an extended period of time, Uber would have to kowtow to them? Because they need to provide for their family. There's always two ways to look at this. Alex said, Harry Campbell has a kid a few months ago. I'm sure he has his hands full. Yes, and I'm sure that plays a role in it. Oh, sorry, your ride got canceled. Terry says, just as long as you're stating facts and not stating hearsay, then I don't think there's anything to worry about when you post your videos. So, well, in the Harry situation, I'm giving him a chance to answer a few questions I had for him first. If he can't, that's fine. The video is going to go out as is. But, yeah, it's a very unfortunate situation, I would say. Hey, Jay. Me too. I hate that for both of them. Oh, you're... Okay, I know what you're talking about. And 18 Matt says, how was your Thanksgiving? It was good. Strikes don't work because they're not done effectively. They're not done effectively, and because, again, because people need to put food on their table. And, I mean, there's just that sad reality when you ask someone, well, what's better, a sucky job that pays terribly or no job at all? Most people will take something as opposed to nothing. And, of course, surge, although I think one of the reasons that the strikes have taken up a little bit more effectiveness recently is, and I've noticed this especially in areas where the news surge is, it's because the surge isn't appealing anymore. So when you striked, the surge would go up. And the people would stop striking and they'd go for the surge. But now when the surges, it's nothing. So people don't care. And I think that's one of the strikes are definitely picking up more momentum. So NYC says, I've been trying to do just Juno and Lyft a lot now, but I might switch back to Uber or do more L3 tonight. How's Lyft improving? Tips from the last email? Sorry, my English is poor. Apparently they're going to have a setup for automatic tipping, which is great. I actually had to take a Lyft today, and lady was really nice. I gave her a $5 bill, and then Katie tipped her on her end because it was her account. So she's getting like a $10 tip, so, good for her. Jay says, I was at a Thanksgiving dinner, and someone mentioned Uber is one of their biggest clients. Apparently, he worked at a law firm. Oh, Ooh, yikes. Jan, that was not, I know it wasn't intended, but oh boy, that was a burn if ever I saw one. That is awesome. That's awesome. How Edward says, however, India's 2 week strike got them 80% of their ask, but they stuck together. Yeah, well, and that's another thing. There's so many reasons. Yeah, the strikes are not done effectively. People want money as opposed to no money. And yeah, people don't band together. So, um, now here's one thing I'll say about Harry's videos, and let's just keep this in mind. As upset as we are about them, at least the video that I saw, he was showing people why the app was an improvement, and the app was an improvement, and he was showing it how it worked. I've made videos where I showed how the app worked. The fact that he got paid to do it doesn't change the fact that it's basically a glorified tutorial. But again, I'll discuss in the video, there are some much bigger issues on why about him doing it in particular. So is Uber and Lyft doing this Hollywood accounting then? Oh, possibly. Terry says, by the way, how much time does it take you to prepare a video from content to compilation for posting? It really depends which one it is. Like, most of the news vlogs take like an hour to compose. And of course, you got to do the research and stuff. So I don't even know how to time that, to be honest. This live stream video took about an hour and 6 minutes and 39 seconds to make this video so far. Still a work in progress, though. And then you have the edited videos, like mainly on my other channel. Like, I did like a review of the Connors, which got like over 23,000 views. I was happy about that. That took like 3 hours to make. Then I made like a video review on a Sonic the Hedgehog comic book, and that took like almost 8 hours, and it got 300 views, and it was like, oh, that made me want to cry. Spent all that time, and no one watched it, but it just depends. Alex Murata, did you do any Black Friday shopping? Yeah. I spent more on Black Friday this year than I ever have before, but I saved for it. I finally got the PS4, which came with Spider-Man. In fact, I am going to be playing some Spider-Man when this ends, and it'll probably end soon. I got a bunch of signed books on Barnes & Noble. I will be posting videos about those books on my Autograph Hound channel if you want to subscribe to that. And I got a lot of Blu-rays and video games. And strangely enough, I still didn't get all the games I wanted. There was like a Kirby game I wanted to get, and a Dragon Ball game that I wanted to get, and a Mega Man X compilation that I wanted to get. But I'll be updating my wish list because I can only spend so much, and of course I have so much stuff to play with now. So I'm actually going to put my wish list on my video descriptions, just in case anyone wants to get me something for my birthday. I mean, the P.O. box is below. No one has to, and I doubt anyone will, but, you know, just for the heck of it. Also, there's going to be, like, a storyline, a running storyline December. I think you guys will get a kick out of that. Savage Knight, there are some horrible things about the new app that I will address in my video. I'm looking forward to seeing that video. NYC Driver said, yeah, the pools have never been the same since the new app rolled out. Oh, didn't you? Yeah. George says, just got here. Did you talk about the things? Yep. But this video is probably going to end soon, and then if you want, you can just rewatch the video, the first, like, 4 minutes. How long did your videos on the Walt Disney Treasure Waves usually take? Gosh, I got to finish making those videos. It bugs me that I've never finished making them. However long those videos are, that's how long plus 30 minutes to process, so not very long. Those ones were actually pretty easy to make. All right, well, we have done this for more than an hour, so I think we're good. Thank you all for watching. Now, for those of you who did not watch this live, but have watched this recorded, what are any of your thoughts on any of this? Agree, disagree, I would love to know. So comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe. If you enjoy my videos, consider becoming a Patreon member. It's totally optional, but even as little as $1 a month goes a long way to helping the channel run smoothly. And as always, flame responsibly. I am going to go play Spider-Man. I am going to play Spider-Man. I am stalling for 10 more seconds so that I can get this up to an hour and 10 minutes. And 4, 3, 2, 1, bye.